JK was on a live stream recently to test his microphone, but some people have had issues with what he said during that stream. We also have Netflix talking about JK, and this is very exciting. And then we have the tour being in question, whether or not it's actually happening. So hey Dumplings, it's Dave Desai. Let's get into it. The solo tour for JK, and specifically a world tour for him, has been in question for a while. His album came out, he did press for it a really long time ago for that, and people have been really hoping for a tour. This situation is really messed up and kind of odd because he did all the promo for it. There was a lot of momentum for him, especially even the possibility of him performing at the Super Bowl, and now he's potentially having a tour 2 years later, when essentially all of that momentum has died already. But he likely would still sell out concert tickets anyway. I mean, this is JK. Some people are wondering if the tour is actually going to happen, or if people have been protesting or freaking out for no reason. I'm also wondering if the tour is now happening because of the recent protests and the billboard trucks and all that stuff outside of the Hive office, that the employees are now considering doing this, right? So we'll never know if this is something that he actually wanted to do, or if he just saw that there was a huge demand for it and the label was like, well, we're not going to miss out on making money. If this many people want a tour, then let's give him one. And I'm personally wondering if the reason why that they didn't announce a tour, or maybe if they potentially didn't want to do a tour, was just because the momentum had already ended 2 years ago. They don't want to have a tour and do press and stuff all over again just to sell these tickets. And they figured, well, it's already over, it's past, let's not bring it up again. But it seems like a lot of people want it, and maybe that's why they're doing it. This is all just my theory. I don't know this 100%. But for those who were protesting, where's their apology? Because they should apologize to the label now, right? Because it's actually happening. Now, it was believed that he recently opened an Instagram account for the reason to promote his tour. Maybe to announce the tour dates, maybe to announce when he's selling tickets, maybe to post promo videos of his concerts and photos and all of that sort of stuff. So I believe personally all of this was an attempt to drum up a little bit more awareness for the concert, because in my opinion it doesn't make a lot of sense, since he did delete the Instagram account and he didn't seem to want a personal one. The account initially had no profile picture, no posts, it wasn't even verified. I believe at the time it was made, and it was believed that all of the members started following this account and ended up getting millions and millions of followers within 24 hours. People noticed that the first post that he made, and currently the only post that he has, was his golden logo from his album. And so a lot of people took this as a resurgence of that era or tour. There's a lot of protests and people demanding him to go on live because they saw that he was not going on live shows and that he doesn't care about his community anymore and all that stuff. That's what people were saying. So I doubt he went on live to shut everyone up, because the live stream actually happened literally within the wee hours of the morning for him. So he hadn't gone to bed yet, it seemed. But one, him going on live and him kind of shutting up the haters by saying, yes, I'm here, I am very much active. He also revealed that he was working on something. He also talked about buying his new microphone for the sake of singing or for doing music and work specifically. His exact words were work, but what else is his work for him, right? It's going to be singing and music. So he's making music, he bought a new microphone to do that, and he posted a photo that resembled his album. This all tells me that he is prepping for this release, and he's trying to get at least the general public talking, aware that he is making music and something's coming. I mean, him coming on live to say that he bought a microphone for work is quite literally admitting to something coming up. New music coming up, maybe even a promotional single that he's going to put out before dropping the tour dates. And I'll throw out another theory that could be possible. He might just be posting a few more new songs as a re-up to his golden album. And he might then go on tour to promote both albums, but the re-up album will be what he's promoting now. This is a thing that a lot of artists do to get their old album back into conversation, but also if there's just more songs and stuff that they could use and be popular, they will typically do a re-up. The industry describes this as increasing the longevity of an album. It can also be used to promote newer artists, but that's a whole different thing that we're not going to talk about here. This is very exciting and such a great thing. I also have a feeling that something might be coming out with Netflix and JK, and it will be that Netflix might have a deal with Hive and they're getting a tour, documentary, or something. I would not be surprised if the label thought it was a good strategy to try to get something on Netflix as part of JK's promotion. Netflix recently posted something on their bio which tells me a lot. However, not as much as you would think, but a lot. A lot of people definitely think that him being on Netflix and on the bio could be a way of Netflix trying to promote an upcoming thing and it being a foreshadow of something. However, if you look at the history of the other companies that do this, it doesn't tell you that much. For example, when JK tried Chipotle for the first time, I believe it was his first time, or maybe he tried it many times before, but he mispronounced the name. And Chipotle put the mispronunciation in their bio. There, of course, were some people thinking, oh, well, maybe there's going to be a JK and Chipotle collab. but of course that never happened. However, and I will add this in again, a Netflix and JK collab is not entirely out of the ordinary. We've noticed that Hybe got their first show on Netflix. Suddenly they got a lot of shows on Netflix. Suddenly they got a lot more shows in theaters and stuff like that. And we know that Are You Sure might have a second season, so there definitely are a lot of possibilities for more shows on Netflix. Personally, I hope there is something that is more specific to JK and his music and his tour, perhaps even just a documentary of his process creating the album, because he's worked with some pretty notable people, and that would be all amazing to see as part of the documentary, right? On the other hand, there has been a lot of pushback with documentaries and just movies and shows about a celebrity. While JK definitely has that appeal where people are going to care about what he's up to, and a lot of people do, he might want to release something that's going to have a wider appeal and an international appeal. People are not as excited about seeing biopics about a celebrity anymore, but instead what they could do is release something with an actual story to it that would make people tune in for the story, and then it would also promote JK and anything that he's looking to promote. So I hope that they do something like that. Now going back, JK did a live stream, as some of you might know, and the purpose of the live stream was to test his new audio equipment. During the live stream, he said one word that went really viral online and caused a lot of controversy, which was the line, "Age is just a number." This is a line that a lot of people believe is widely used by people who do inappropriate things with children, and a line that they probably often say as a way to defend what they do. And there was already this rumor for a while by this very niche and terrible community that likes to put JK in that category, with others who are claiming that JK is trying anything and everything to try to keep a parasocial relationship with those that are very young. Now, I never say this, but please have these people sued. Oh my God, these are terrible things to say. Now, I'm going to give context to this whole situation and break it down fully, but of course I also want to say that people need to stop using this term and this ideology against people they do not know or have no proof against. It genuinely takes away from the severity of actually touching kids. Like, do you know how severe that claim is? You cannot just say this to anybody without any proof. A lawyer can 100% argue in court and sue you for making claims like this without any proof. They say this all the time for defamation cases. If you're going to try to make extraordinary claims, you better have extraordinary evidence. Calling someone a pedophile is an extraordinary claim. Like, you're putting JK in the same category as someone like Jeffrey Epstein. And this is why I personally believe those who are making these claims are just as bad as those who are actually doing the deed, because you're desensitizing people to the term and to this ideology, because the term doesn't do what you think it does. People have brains, people can think, and if you see all over the internet every single person that is famous is being called a pedophile, what's going to happen? No, they're not going to believe that every person actually is a pedophile. They're just going to get desensitized to the term. Oh, that's probably not true. People are just lying. Oh, that's a claim that everyone says. Oh, everyone famous gets called out once in a while. It's not a big deal. That's the narrative behind being called a pedophile now. That's not good. That means anyone who actually is doing these things won't get caught. That's horrible. Now, to give context on what was going on during the live stream, JK mentioned that he wanted to know what the age range of the people that were watching him. He felt like they were very young people watching him. I don't know why, maybe it was the way the comments were worded or something like that, but he mentioned, oh, it seemed like there are a lot of young people watching. He asked for the age range of the people watching, and people spat out various different numbers. We're talking about ages ranging from 14 to like 50. And then he replies like, oh wow, it varies that much. And then he said the phrase, age is just a number, meaning that he is talking about how it doesn't matter what age you are, you can watch. And then we also have to consider the term age is just a number. It's also translated from Korean to English, so we don't actually even know what was actually said. But even if it was something that he said, you have to take it in context with the whole thing. You cannot just make these claims without watching the entire video. And I would say I'm surprised, but people do it to my videos all the time. Thankfully, for those who care, JK's live stream is there in its entirety, online I believe. If not, it's on YouTube. So you can watch the whole thing in its entirety and judge the context of it for yourself. Let me know what you think. Make sure to check out Patreon for more videos, linked down below. Thank you to this lovely comment right here. Love you, bye.